Did you hear this news? British Airways cancels hundreds of flights due to a pilot strike.
Fox 5 legal analyst Wendy Patrick joining us now to explain all of this. Wendy, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, we were just chatting about this. What prompted the strike?
Well, what prompted the strike is what prompts all strikes.
Sure.
It's a dispute over money. It's a dispute over salaries. Now, here's what I think people need to know about this. If you were to look up what those pilots make, you would say that's a lot of money.
Sure.
However, you also have to look at the other side. Is it commensurate with what the airline is bringing in terms of profits? So there isn't the kind of profit sharing that the pilots would like, particularly because they were willing to give up some of their salaries and take pay cuts and work more hours when they were in a recession. So it is about time that they are able to share in the profits that that airline is making. That's the argument. Now, the good news, I suppose, is it's just 2 days right now.
Right.
The bad news is there's another strike planned for September 27th if both sides can't get back and make a deal at the negotiation table.
While they're doing this negotiation, there are many people who have purchased tickets. They're counting on traveling.
That's right.
What rights do they have when it comes? I mean, it's very disruptive for people who are trying to go about their business.
It's very disruptive, and nobody wants to think that the airline is putting profits over people by making sure that they can't get rerouted or refunded. But the airline has done exactly that. They gave the requisite notice. They have rebooked almost everyone. But here's the problem. If you are one of those affected customers, remember, San Diego has a direct flight to Heathrow, and we've had it for years, and many of us have taken it. If you are directly affected, fine print matters. Make sure you read exactly what you're entitled to, because really weather delays, we've seen it go from storms to strikes over the last couple of weeks, but make sure you know what you can and can't do. In other words, you can't just say, well, I'm going to book another airline and then try to get the balance. That is not an option. However, there are options that are available so you're not out any money, but you got to jump on that sooner rather than later. Sign up for those travel notifications so you know whether or not you're affected.
And what are some of those options? Because we talk about the rights you have as a passenger, but
Right.
also you get lost. Okay, I have rights, but then what do I do now? Who do I talk to? Who do I ask? The fine print. Nobody reads that.
Well, not only nobody reads that, but it is not a feasible alternative to suggest that, well, you're just going to get on the phone with the airline. No, you aren't. You're going to be online. You're going to be on hold for hours. Everybody knows that. Think out of the box. There are many people that have gone on Twitter, that have gone on social media, that have done live chats in different types of ways of getting assistance sooner. Now, you got to research these things or have your kids research it for you, whatever you need to do to know these options that exist, because who's to say that there isn't going to be another airline that's going to strike in the future? After all, this is a first for British Airlines. So we have to assume when we're booking travel that we're also researching all the options available to us. If God forbid that that flight is canceled, or however you're planning on getting there, know what you would do if it goes out of service.
You just mentioned that there's another strike planned again after
September 27th, that's right.
Then what happens? Like, do you think we're going to come to a resolution? We're going to see a resolution
Oh,
soon?
I hope so, Shelley. The reason I think that we will is because the money the airline is losing every day it doesn't operate is far more than the demands made by the strikers. And if you look at that in context, you got to imagine they're going to come to some middle ground sooner rather than later and get those planes back in the air filled with people rather than just transporting planes to different locations in order to be able to have flights resume.
Let's hope things get back to normal quickly. Wendy Patrick, thank you.
Always a pleasure. Thanks.
All right. Coming up on the Fox